Hi there, folks. My name's Novawind24, and welcome to another little Microsoft Flight Simulator product review. Today, we are having a look at this little gem of an add-on. And of course, I am talking about the Got Friends GeeBee R3 Special Racer. This is a fantastic little concept aircraft and all-round absolutely batshit crazy insane aeroplane. This little aircraft was actually released quite some time ago, but it's recently received a major overhaul to version 2, and I think this is a perfect time to do the review on it. Now, this review today, folks, is made possible by our frequent flyer community. Thank you very much to all of them, particularly to Dread Midas for this one, for making the review of this aircraft possible today. Now, as I said, this aircraft is an aircraft that was originally released to us, I want to say about a year ago, and was one of the first sort of payware aircraft releases for the sim, and the first from the Got Friends team, of course, led by the team at Got Gravel, who have brought us a number of freeware aircraft, and this was their first payware aircraft release, and it was very much an interesting release. And at the time when it first came out, I was somewhat skeptical, somewhat dubious of it. But in time, through speaking with members of the community, and of course through convincing me from our frequent flyer community, they've convinced me to give it a crack. And I tell you what, it is a bucket ton of fun. So I thought that, yeah, and I said with the release of the latest update to this one, the version 2 release, I figured that this was a perfect time to release this aircraft. Now, what is the GeeBee R3 Special? Now, that's a great question. Now, essentially, it is a fictional or a concept aircraft that is a paper design, and actually stems from the remote control aircraft community. Now, of course, for those of you who are familiar with aviation history, you would, of course, know the name of the GeeBee Racer, which, of course, was the name of the very iconic racing aircraft during the 1920s, 1930s, which was essentially a giant, I think it was a twin wasp radial engine, though I may be mistaken with that, but basically it was a giant engine with tiny stubby little wings that was both amazing, impressive, incredibly fast, and also quite lethal as a racing aircraft, and was an aircraft that it was both amazed crowds and shocked crowds, and was both a incredibly difficult aircraft to fly, but also was one that would cause delight and wonder to the aviation world community of its era. So the R3 is a fictional sort of design, and as I said, was actually designed for it was a sort of concept and created for the remote control community. The remote control community has been flying this aircraft in scale for quite a number of years. In fact, if you are into your RC, you can pick up the plans for this and actually build one yourself. So it was an interesting project that the Got Friends team chose to pick this one up and give us a thoroughbred racer and aerobatic aircraft. Now, the aircraft, when it first released, pioneered quite a number of features in the sim, including smoke, sort of an active smoke generation capability, which of course makes a return in the version 2 update of this aircraft. Now, just like its original sort of original GeeBee racer sort of concept, the R3 is pretty much a giant engine with wings attached, and so it's all powered by this Jimmy Doolittle engine at the front here, driving a massive fixed RPM engine, sorry, fixed RPM propeller, and the engine is just it's just an insane amount of power in this engine. It really, really is. Now, the aircraft for me really captures the essence of the original GB Racer with its sort of fixed tricycle spat undercarriage with the bracing wires, and really sort of captures that 1930s, 1930s vibe of aviation. And it definitely, for me, it definitely looks like it's straight out of the Rocketeer or out of, like, Sky Captain of the World of Tomorrow. It really sort of feels like it belongs in some form of steampunk adventure. And it just looks fast standing still. It really does. Now, this aircraft, as I said, is a concept aircraft, so we're not going to talk about sort of flight dynamics or anything like that here because it is a fictional aircraft. But at the same time, it is something quite insane, as we are going to see once we get into the skies. So the giant engine, as we're sort of going around here, has these two sort of exhausts here, which have, and even the engine even is capable now of with a NOS kit, which is for those of you who watched Fast and the Furious, of course, that's how you can get a massive extra amount of power in your car engine. It works exactly the same in this aircraft engine as well, with giving you 25% extra power for up to 10 minutes of running in this aircraft. So if you're needing to get that final bit of speed to take first position in your air race, you've got the tools to be able to do just that. So, as I said, like the aircraft in terms of modeling, it is very much a very clean design and looking really, really beautiful. It's got this, all the rivet lines and sort of, again, it just really harkens back to the sort of bolted, riveted construction that the original GB Racer has, and continues that with this reimagining of the aircraft. As we go around here, it comes with a number of different liveries that are included with this one. This one is the sort of like house livery of the Got Friends team. Includes a number of different liveries, some of them in quite stunning metallic finishes as well. So you've got quite a number of racing liveries to choose from that ship with the package, along with plenty available on the community marketplace. Now, the version 2 of this aircraft includes numerous changes, includes updates, a full redesign of the 3D model, including an expansion of the wingspan. So the wingspan is now I believe it's about 10% bigger. And it does have a corresponding effect on the aerodynamics of the aircraft as well, along with a full redesign of the interior to bring it to life. So it is a pretty stunning model. Lots and lots of detail with the riveted cockpit, and that's something as well is that it also shares with the original GB Racer, is that you were basically bolted into the cockpit. Like, there was no sort of quick cockpit jettison or anything like that with this aircraft. You were bolted into the cockpit, just like you are with the R3. So it's kind of cool how this modern interpretation of this aircraft is still true to its original GB origins, and again, as I said, just really goes through to have that feel of that sort of steampunk sort of feel to this aircraft. So it is just I'm just looking at this and just marveling at it. As I said, I sometimes I'm amazed myself at how sort of not interested in this aircraft I was initially, but now that I've had it, it is just absolutely insane. All right, well, now that we've had a look at some of this amazing detail on the exterior, let's jump into the very cramped office, and let's go through the startup and get this aircraft into the air. All right, so here we are in the very cramped office of the R3 Special, and I mean, it's pretty bare bones when it comes to this aircraft, because this aircraft is designed to go fast, perform amazing maneuvers, aerobatic maneuvers, and that's it. So this is not for your cross-country touring. The fuel capacity is quite low. You're not going to get a lot of fuel in this aircraft. So you're not going to get a lot of range out of it. It is designed to go fast, go hard, and land. And that's pretty much about all this aircraft is supposed to do. Now, inside, as I said, inside the cockpit here, it is very bare bones. You've got sort of like a basic 6 here. You have the sort of default GNS 430 and GTX 330 avionic systems. The aircraft does support the use of the PMS GTN 750. However, it is a extra model add-on. It is an extra sort of model download. That's a free download for owners of the aircraft that allows you to swap out the instruments for that. However, they are mutually exclusive. So if you are using the GTN 750, then you don't have the option in SIM to switch back to the GNS 430. That's all controlled externally in your community folder. So if you have the model modification that sets in the GTN 750, then that's the only in your community folder. That is the only option that you will have in SIM. So I've chosen that during this review, I'm not going to use the GTN 750. I'm going to use just the 430, which for me actually feels more like it would be in the aircraft. I really don't think you'd be having a touchscreen GTN 750 in an aerobatic racer. I don't feel that you would. But if you would prefer to have one, as I said, it is a fully supported component of this aircraft. Otherwise, you've got your airspeed over here, propeller RPM, manifold pressure, clock, attitude indicator, altitude, and your VSI indicator. All basic stuff for here. You've got your NOS pressure down, your NOS reserves in here. So as I said, you've got 10, as I said earlier, you've got 10 minutes of NOS, which is all triggered by the covered switch down here, which, by the way, you can bind that to a keybind, which I do recommend doing, as the manual also recommends doing as well. It is linked to the War Emergency Power command inside the sim. So when I set up my controls for this aircraft, I've got it on a toggle switch to simply engage that, because I don't want to be fiddling around in the cockpit when I am doing some racing. Otherwise, very basic here. So electrical systems, turn and slip indicator, and fuel, battery, fuel selector. It's pretty, as I said, pretty bare bones in this aircraft. Parking brake, battery, alternator. Now, the other thing, as I talked about before earlier, is that this aircraft, when it first came out, pioneered using smoke and smoke effects in the sim, which are down here on the right here. You do have 5 different colors of smoke. So you got white, red, yellow, blue, and green. Now, each of these can be either toggled manually by using the click of the switch, or alternatively, they are bound sequentially using the flaps command. So if you extend your flaps, so you sort of use the flaps extend and flaps retract command, you can cycle through from 0 all the way down to max flaps, and then back up again to transition through those aerobatic smokes. And we'll have a look at that smoke active in the sim once we get into the air. You got your parking brake here, battery alternator switches. As I said, very, very bare bones in this aircraft, not much to it. And that's probably the most thing to talk about. In terms of what's the sort of your warning, sort of notification lighting systems are, this was another feature that was added in with the version 2 update, I believe, which is a G meter. So white shows 0G, and then each light on either side, it sort of goes through here, it shows positive and negative G all the way through here. So each one represents plus or minus 1G. You've got some notification lights here. You've got your sort of warning lights, and you've got your master caution notification lights here. You've got notifications for your parking brake being enabled, low fuel, over G, low oil pressure, low volts, and whether you're about to stall or not. And then these little ones here are actually linked to your air brakes. So you do have 2, you've got nose-mounted air brakes. So you've got an air brake located on each side of the nose, which are pneumatically operated. Now, these are really, really fascinating. So these can be bound, so you can either set them to they're bound to the spoiler command in your sim. Now, if you've got a spoiler toggles, then you can toggle them on, which pushes them out to maximum. Alternatively, you can have them bound to a spoiler axis. But as well as being able to control them manually, they actually also have an auto deploy feature. So as you're performing tight turns, they will actually deploy deploy on the inside of the turn to help pull you around that corner even harder and even harder. So it's perfect for those tight turns when you're going through pylons. You can they'll actually automatically deploy, and you'll show their deployment status through these two sort of indicator looking lights on each side. You'll see them light up as they deploy. So that's pretty much it. In the cockpit, you've got a wet compass here for aerobatics to sort of go through your headings. And if we just sort of turn around, sort of look behind us here, you can see a first aid kit and your NOS kit, your NOS supply bottles are actually sitting. So you're basically bolted in and strapped onto a couple of bombs. But, you know, that's how we roll in high-speed aerobatic racing. All right, let's check our fuel and we'll get started. We'll do our takeoff now. We are going to be putting this aircraft through its paces in a bit of a race here. So we're going to be departing here from Grand Canyon Airport, and we're going to be going through the recently released Orbix Fun with Friends, one of their racing courses here in Grand Canyon. So we're going to give this a crack. We're going to show off some of the capabilities of this aircraft, and I'm probably going to make a fool of myself trying to do some of these aerobatics and some of these maneuvers. So forgive me while I do that, but this aircraft is just way too fun, and it would be really, really boring review if we didn't try and go through some form of racing. Now, one thing to mention with your fuel as well is that this aircraft chews fuel like it's going out of fashion. So I mentioned it before, you're not going to be getting very far across country on this aircraft. This aircraft is designed to go fast and choose the fuel to go with it. So we're going to be using a full, I'm pretty sure we're going to go through most of our tank of gas while we're doing this flight today. So without any further ado, now that we've got our tanks topped off, let's go through our start process. Okay, so I'm going to push my prop forward. All right, we're going to turn our battery master on, everything illuminating. All right, excellent. Parking brake is engaged. We're going to turn our fuel to both tanks. All right, we're going to engage our fuel pump. So we've got our fuel pressure is up. Okay, turn our nav lights on, and we're going to turn magnetos. Start. This aircraft is already struggling. Is like struggling against the parking brake, just a little bit above idle. Like there is, as I said, there is just an insane amount of power in this engine. It really, really is insane. All right, so we're going to go bring our avionics on, turn our pitot heats on. We're going to turn our fuel pump off. All right, taxi lights on. Put our transponder on. All right, all warnings are off, looking good. Alternator on, there we go, voltage charging. All right, now, as you probably figured out, there are no flaps on this aircraft because obviously the smoke is bound to the flap command, but yeah, just something to be aware of when we do our approach. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put my brakes on, release parking brake, there we go. It is really starting against the stops already. Now, one of the interesting things about this aircraft, of course, like many, many tail draggers, is that you have this whopping great big engine in front of you. So seeing past that engine while taxiing can be quite challenging. Now, literally, I'm at idle at the moment, and it's already taxiing quite quickly. So this aircraft, when you're taxiing it, like most tail draggers, you sort of have to make use of an S sort of taxi profile to now allow you to essentially see past the front of the aircraft to see where you're going. So you sort of have to sort of taxi side by side, to almost taxi sideways while you're taxiing here. Now, fortunately, I started the review video close to our departure runway of 27 because I knew I didn't want to have to taxi far like this. But yeah, it is something to get used to when you are taxiing. All right, so we're sort of heading out to our departure runway. take the runway. Alright, lined up. Now we'll slowly bring the throttle up. Watching out the sides of the aircraft, it very quickly builds speed. Raise the tail. Very quickly into the air. As I said, like, you build up speed so quickly with this aircraft. It is just insane. Like, it's amazing how far, like, this aircraft, we're already going through, 160 knots here and 30 inches of manifold pressure. It's just you can't help but smile while flying this airplane. You really can't help but smile with it because it's just so much fun. Alright, you can do some amazing maneuvers with this aircraft. It's just really, really fast. It's just so nimble and agile. It really is. Like, even here running, half throttle, and we're still going 180 knots very, very easily. Now, as I said, this aircraft is very, very aerobatic, so the roll rate can really... It definitely surprised me, that's for sure, with the roll rate of this aircraft. And the minimum radius turn that it can do is quite small as well. You have to watch, you ride the stalls, you're pulling that. Hearing my virtual self sort of sucking in the air from the G's there as we went around that tight corner. It is just, I'm just grinning like an absolute idiot here while flying this aircraft. I really, really am. All right, so we're going to head towards the canyon here. We've got the start of the course is marked by the big Orbix balloon over there, and we're going to be giving us a crack here to give it a go with flying this one. Now, as we trim this aircraft out, it is also kind of difficult sometimes to trim the aircraft out as well because it is just so agile. And once the team at Got Friends, as part of the version 2 update, they've also adopted the new propeller physics and the propeller dynamics that was released with the latest sim update. They've also adopted the ground effect that was featured as part of the Reno expansion as well. So a lot of improvements have come into this version 2 release that are worthy of note. And again, just get that buffeting effect from this giant propeller that's pulling you along. And the propeller very much has an impact on your flying as well. Like you see the aircraft vibrating as it's flying along, and actually has the torque on the prop really does drive the maneuvers of the aircraft as well. Now, as we're going through here, something to note as well is that with your airspeed indicator, it's actually a double circle. So once it completes one revolution, that's 200 knots, and then you're on the inside of the indicator to show you your airspeed after that once you go through the first part of the circle. All right, now I'm just locking my position of the canyon because that's the canyon that we're going to be flying through. So we'll show the smoke as we return from our canyon run here. So let's take this opportunity to head into the canyon. Hear that wind whistling past the cockpit as we blow through 220 knots there. And I'm still only running 20 inches of manifold pressure here. Like, this thing is just made to go fast. It really, really is. That buffeting of the speed coming through. And it's going to make, and it makes control of the aircraft through the NOS system as well when the NOS is engaged even more challenging. Alright, Alright, coming up. Of course, I expect I do not expect to. I expect to get be told in the comments here when we start this this race course. I'm expecting that I'll get a critique from you, the viewer, on how many points I get penalised when I make a mess of this course. But let's give it a crack. All right. There's the Orbix balloon, so we're about to start the course. Alright, and smoke on. I probably won't be talking much through this because the concentration at these speeds is very much needed. I said that roll rate can really catch you unawares because it's just so fast with its roll rate. Oh, that was close. Yep, not wings level. Going through here, bit of slaloming going on. Okay. Through. No, not wings level. Alright, come through. That was probably a little high. Oh. Nearly missed that one. It's just it's so much fun just taking this aircraft through here, and feels like a real challenge to flying skills as well. Like, and it makes you respect those who air race so much more, and we don't have to deal with the G-forces that they are. Not wings level. Through that one. It's really, like as I said, the amount of torque that the engine puts out really actually does put you out sometimes on... Oh, no, wrong side of that pylon. Alright, and there's the NOS kit going. All right. And there we have it. Like, that was just... Okay. So, that was so... Sorry, I'm just absolutely grinning like an idiot at the moment. Like, that was just so much fun. And it's really what this aircraft is all about. This aircraft is 100% about having fun. And the amount of things that you can do with this aircraft is just absolutely bonkers. And it's, as I said, like, it's a fictional design, but it's really well executed. Like, I can genuinely see this aircraft being made in real life, and I feel that the Got Friends team have really captured what this aircraft is capable of doing, you know, or could be capable of doing if somebody were to actually fund the development of it. And I feel that as I said, like the excitement that it generates is just, it's something that I wasn't expecting. I was not expecting to have as much fun with this aircraft as I have been. Alright, so now that we've I've made a little bit of a fool of myself with that maneuver, with that bit of racing there, so let's have a look at some of the features that we talked about with this aircraft. So let's just jump outside and we'll have a look at the coloured smoke, and we'll have a look at those speed brakes in operation. So the speed brakes, as I said, they can be bound either to sort of toggle, either be toggleable to toggle full or off, or alternatively you can have them, as we just sort of zoom in a bit here, you can have it so that they're bound to your spoiler key, and they are really effective. Like, they will slow you down really fast. Also highly recommended for use on landing, and we will make the use of those on landing very, very shortly. So there is fully compatible, as I said, either with button or with an axis use. Now, in terms of smoke, as I said, you do have a smoke system. I did have smoke on during that race there, but obviously I didn't get to see much because I was concentrating on not flying into a mountainside. So in terms of the smoke, so you've got the option, you have white smoke. Next notch is red smoke. Then you got some yellow, blue, and finally green. Now, the great part about this smoke as well is that it is visible, because it is bound to flaps. That means it is visible across multiplayer for any other fellow virtual aviator who also has the GeeBee Racer installed. So as long as you have the GeeBee Racer installed, when they put their smoke on, you will be able to see your fellow racers' smoke. Right, so now just while we're up here, let's take a better look at the outside just while we're in the air. It is an aircraft that doesn't have any autopilot, so you do have to be hands on the stick pretty much the entire time. So if you're, as I said, this is not an aircraft if you're just wanting sort of to point the nose and go somewhere, or let it go take itself somewhere. You are very much in control and in command of this aircraft, and you will be hands on the stick the whole time. So I think that the Got Friends name for the company that's doing this is actually perfect, because really this aircraft is 100% designed for you to fly with friends and to challenge each other to various maneuvers and aerobatic displays and to race. So I think that this paired with the Reno expansion, which at some point hopefully maybe we can open up to maybe now that this is available now in the Microsoft Marketplace, maybe we might even see a Reno compatible mod, or maybe support for the Reno races and a Reno class category just for the R3 Special. That would be really, really cool. But otherwise, it would make a great pairing with something like the Orbix's free Brisbane run racing add-on. Alternatively, their paid Fun with Friends add-on. I think that this is a great aircraft to pair with that and to fly with friends. Alright, so well, what we'll do now is, now that we've had a bit of fun here, we've done a display and we've checked out our aircraft, both in the air, on the ground, and on the race course. Let's go now down to landing, because landing this aircraft can be a little bit of a handful, because again, of that giant engine at the front, and also because of given that there's no flaps, she has a very high approach speed. So let's go and see how we go with landing. Alright, so just because we can, we're going to do something a little bit different. Alright, smoke on. I said this aircraft is a racer, but she is also aerobatic, and there is something that it just channels you in a barnstormer, I suppose perhaps is the way. Just sort of flying. I feel like maybe we should get some Top Gun colours for this, and do some and buzz the tower every now and again. But it is, it's just kind of fun to be able to do stuff like this, because of course in real life, if we tried to do that, we would get into all sorts of trouble. But of course, what's one of the joys of flight simming is that we can do this and get away with it. Alright, so let's do that very unconventional sort of beat up the runway there and come in for our landing. So we're going to throttle back here, but of course, as I said, the speed, this aircraft she doesn't like slowing down very much. So to bring her down, we do have the spoilers. So we've got the front there, so we can bleed off some airspeed with this one, and it's very much almost like a fighter sort of approach for this one. So if you're used to flying tail dragger sort of tail dragger warbirds, you're probably going to be at a better advantage of knowing how to land this aircraft. But you will find that speed is something that you will have trouble washing off, and that's why you make use of those speed brakes at the front there. So we're going to come in, curving approach here, and of course, just like with when you're taxiing, the high angle of the fuselage and the long schnoz that this aircraft has with the engine definitely does make it a bit of a challenge to come in and land here. So we're going to watch our power here. We're going to come in here. We've got the speed brakes out partially. I've got them partially out at the moment. Tuck them back in, push them out. Not the cleanest landing, and of course full backstick to help keep the tail on the ground as we slow down and take the pressure off the brakes. It's just, this aircraft is just so much fun. It is just an insane amount of fun. And as I said, it was an aircraft that I was somewhat dubious about when I first saw it being proposed and when I first saw it released. And I am eternally grateful to our frequent flyer community and Dreadmiters from our frequent flyer community for saying to me that I had to give it a go and making it possible for me to bring this to you, because yeah, this thing is just insanely cool. It really is. Okay, well, may have forgotten to put our landing light on there where we came in there. Now I'm gonna slow down that taxi a little bit. As I said, the aircraft, she just picks up speed, and that's got to do with, as I said before, like the sheer amount of power that this that the engine just generates. And we're just sort of trying to sort of do the S turn sort of check of the taxi here. You really have to tap the brakes on a very regular basis to sort of be able to keep control of your angle and your path here, because it is very difficult to see out of this aircraft. And we'll taxi back to our parking at the far end of the field. Then we'll park up, shut the aircraft down, and then we'll give our final thoughts. Alright, parking brake on, and fuel cut off. Okay, there's no separate mixture controls in this aircraft, by the way. There's, that you do have propeller, but you do not have mixture controls. Or safe the NOS. So that's just something to be aware of. You may notice that during the startup process, it was not there. So it's just straight fuel injected. This aircraft, there is no mixture control, and that's just something to be aware of. So again, this is an aircraft designed for racing, not designed for cross-country flying. All right, so with that, shutter mags off, and alternator and battery master off. All right, let's head outside and give our final thoughts. Alrighty, so here we are on the outside with a pair of ghost battens. Anyway, random sympathy. Okay, so the Got Friends GeeBee R3 Special Racer. What can I say? This thing is a bucket ton of fun. Like I cannot stress how insanely fun this is. It is a paper concept aircraft. It's a remote control aircraft that's now been virtualized as a full scale virtual aircraft, and it just has so many feels. For anyone who has any passing interest in the heady days of air racing and sort of barnstorming aviation of the sort of 1920s and 30s, anyone who's a bit of a speed freak and a speed demon and wants to challenge themselves and their flying skills and their speed skills, this aircraft is going to scratch that itch for you. It absolutely will. It's modeled, especially with the version 2 update, the modeling is absolutely incredibly well done. The cockpit's done, the flight model. I mean, as I said, like, we can't say that I can't compare this to a real thing of what it is, but it feels like it flies right. It just feels so insane. It is just so much fun. It is massively overpowered. It is incredibly maneuverable, and I think it fits the bill of a racing aerobatic aircraft to an absolute T. I could genuinely see if some multimillionaire or multi-billionaire just said, you know what, let's turn this into a real life aircraft, and we would see this on the Reno and the air race circuit. I absolutely think that you would see this happen because, and fortunately, thanks to flight simulation, we can get that get that feeling in our virtual world. So I've absolutely got to say a huge congratulations to the team at Got Friends for coming out with a brilliant idea and an incredible execution and a wonderful and an incredibly detailed an incredible update to the community as well with the version 2 update. So, folks, for me, I love it. I think it's awesome. Bucket ton of fun. But remember, it is an aircraft that is easy to fly, hard to master. You will fly into canyon walls. You will find yourself stalling. You will find yourself hitting the ground really quite hard. You will find yourself over-G'ing it. And you know what? That is part of the damn fun with this aircraft. It really is. I think pairing this aircraft with friends who also have this aircraft is a great idea, along with some form of racing, whether that be racing each other through, the the Black Canyon of the Gunnison, or racing through Grand Canyon, or in something like the Brisbane River Run, or the Fun with Friends add-on from Orbix. This is an aircraft that is made to be enjoyed at speed with friends. So, folks, as I said, that well, with that glowing recommendation, that now rounds up this review of the Got Friends GeeBee R3 Special Racer. If you wanted to pick this one up, add this one to your collection, it is available now from flightsim.to and from the InSim marketplace with the latest version. And as we round this one out, once again, I want to say a huge thank you to our frequent flyer community for suggesting this one and making this review possible. So if you are interested in supporting the channel and supporting the work that I do here, please consider joining our frequent flyer community either at our Twitch channel or via our Patreon. All the links are in the description down below. Otherwise, folks, thanks very much for watching it. Take care, safe skies to all, and keep the blue side up. Be good humans, and we will see you on the next video. Bye for now.